Hey guys, welcome back to Real Housewives Recaps. Today we're talking Inventing Anna. This is a limited series on Netflix. This is episode 1, Life of a VIP. But before we get into all that, there's something I have to say. Hello, it's Anna. You guys, this accent on this girl made me laugh so hard. I'll get into all of it, but I just want to talk like this because this is kind of how she talks. I'm Anna. And no, I'm not making fun of my German friends because, hi guys, I actually have a bunch of awesome German people in my comments. That is not at you. That is at whatever accent she's doing in this show. It's making me laugh and it's kind of distracting. Or should I say it's kind of distracting? I'm sorry, I promise I'm going to quit doing that. I kind of cross into Scottish a little bit, I notice, and also I kind of cross into Austin Powers Gold member. Gold. That's all I could hear when this girl would talk. Gold. Why do you wear the clothes, you fat ass? Woo, I'm going to have a lot of fun recapping this thing. Let's get into this. Okay, everybody? I promise I'll stop.
I watched it too, but the only accent I know is Austrian. Get to the chopper. I will scam somebody for the chopper.
Oh, God. If that's your first video with me, I'm sorry. But that's my husband, Jay. He's Dr. Bad Vibes on YouTube. Check him out. He's not going to do the recap with me, but I did make him watch it with me. And we just kept talking about the accents, yeah. Since I'm doing the accents, the only other one I can do is Swedish Chef. Yep, I am multi-talented. Let's get into this review, okay? But don't forget to check out my Patreon, okay? I don't know what accent I'm doing now. Check out Patreon. It's awesome. Let's get into this. Okay, so right off the bat, we have large photo paper going into some insane printing machine. We have loud music, flashing lights. There's even a strobe light warning right at the beginning of this thing, so we know we're into something. They're printing a story all about our girl, Anna. And this is where we get the opening scenes here, the opening where they're taking pictures of Anna. She's being booked. This whole story... See, I'm going to do that accent a lot. This whole story, the one you're going to sit on your fat ass. Yes, that's what she says. She says, sit on your fat ass. Guys, it's worth watching it for the accent alone. And watch like a big lump of nothing. It's about me. I can't stop. I cannot stop with this accent. Okay, it's about her. And we get this warning right off the bat that I absolutely love. This whole story is completely true except for the parts that are totally made up. That is probably the best warning I've ever seen. Fantastic. So again, this is on Netflix, put out by Shondaland, Shonda Rhimes, behind Grey's Anatomy, Bridgerton, pretty much every show ever. So she's behind this. Of course, Anna is played by Julia Garner, and I keep wanting to say Julia Child, to which I say, hello, I'm Julia Child. We're going to make a feast. Hello. Oh my God, I'm like punch drunk. Okay, let's get through this. So we know her, of course, from Dirty John. I'm working my way through that. She plays Tara. And the reporter, who is Vivian Kent, is played by Anna, I never say her last name right, Chlumsky. Anyway, if you recognize her, if you're about my age, you'll recognize her from My Girl. Can you believe it? I can't even believe it. I didn't have to look her up. I just immediately knew who it was. And I haven't seen her in years, but I was like, holy shit. But I do think I saw her on Veep, too. She was on Veep. Okay, I promise I'm not drunk. I just sound like it. Let's get into this. So again, I was obsessed with this story, this German heiress, Anna, and I still am. I'm completely obsessed. So when I heard this was coming out, I was like, hell yeah. I did not realize what this was. I think I even called it a documentary when I was talking about this upcoming show. That's not what this is. There's like some parts based on reality and some parts I have no idea where they got them. I think they just made them up. Great. Works for me. So I'm just going to go just on what they're showing us here because, yeah, it's kind of all over the place, but I'm loving it. It's like, it's weird as shit. There's lots of details, but I'm enjoying this train wreck, if that makes sense. I think because I like the real story so much, this one kind of has me fascinated too. Although some of these scenes, they do drag out. Okay, so much going on. So right off the bat, we find out it's 2017. The Manhattan District Attorney's Office announced an indictment against Anna Sorokin, and we find out it's inspired by the New York Magazine article written by Jessica Pressler. That's where I originally heard about it, is this magazine. Okay, so Miss Sorokin is known by her alias, Anna Delvey. 2 counts attempted grand larceny, 3 counts grand larceny second degree, 1 count of grand larceny in third degree. Okay, so here's what's happening. We go over to this periodical, it's called Manhattan, where they're talking about what stories will be assigned to which journalist. This is where we get to know Vivian. Vivian is obsessed with this story. She goes in to make a pitch for herself, which it sounds like is not often done. Usually the stories are just given to them. She says she's going to take her shot. She says that she's interested in this rich German heiress. She might be broke. She might even be Russian. They don't know. So she's going to be arraigned today. This is a cover story. Please let me have this. Well, these guys won't listen to her. She's trying to say, listen, this girl is fascinating. She's 26 years old. Let me do this. Paul is the guy that assigns stories. Paul wants her to cover Wall Street Me Too. And he's saying, I want copy in 3 weeks. So she literally has no choice. She just says, fine, whatever, no problem. Well, we see her, she's just drawn by the story. So she's like, screw it. She gets up, she walks over to the courthouse because she has to be at the arraignment. So we see her walk in to the the arraignment, and both sides are arguing over whether or not Anna is a flight risk. So her attorney is saying, just set a reasonable bail. I will take her passport. And the judge says she has no confidence that Anna won't run away. So she sentenced her to go to Rikers Island. And so Vivian follows her attorney out and talks to him and says, listen, you put up a good argument. Oh, by the way, does the attorney look familiar to you? If you watch Succession, he does. He was in Succession and he's great. Okay. So Vivian's trying to butter up the attorney, like, listen, you did a great job. Now talk to me. And he keeps saying, no comment, no comment. She's like, listen, talk to me. Any idea in how she got mixed up in all this? She's just trying to get some information. And again, he's just saying, no comment, no comment. And she's trying to say, listen, the Post is writing about her. Don't you want to interview where her side comes out? She says, one interview. Just talk to her and let her make up her own mind about this. And we find out then her name is Vivian Kent. So then we see Vivian back at home. Do you recognize who her husband is? She's apologizing to him profusely because she missed her doctor appointment. She's pregnant. She missed a sonogram appointment. He sat there in the doctor's office. Does he look familiar? Do you watch Workaholics? That's Durs. So I'll probably call him Durs throughout this because that's all I know him as. That's Durs. I don't even know if they said his name except for husband, but he's Durs. If you don't watch Workaholics, it's hilarious. It's on Comedy Central, or it was. Check that out. It's so funny. Okay. So she's telling him, they're kind of alluding to something has happened with her. I'm dying to know more about that. He says, you don't have to put up with Paul, and she's asking him to drop it. Something has happened with her work, and I really want to know what it is. She writes Anna a letter and says, listen, I'm a features writer. I'm at this magazine. The papers aren't doing your story justice. You're brilliant. You're interesting, blah, blah, blah. Please let me meet with you sometime. Best regards. She writes down her phone number. Well, flash forward, she's sound asleep. Her phone starts ringing. Yes, I will accept a call from Rikers Island. And we hear, Vivian, it's Anna Delvey. So she gets on a bus going to Rikers. And we see her go through the process of being searched. She has to wait on a second bus. It's a bus named Rosie. I don't know why that's important, but they kept telling us it's a bus named Rosie. Okay, cool. Wondering how long it will be. It takes as long as it takes. So she's watching Murder, She Wrote, waiting on her turn to be called. So meanwhile, at the park, we see the prosecutor runs into the defense attorney, and he's just trying to talk to her, trying to get her, feel her out to see if she'll drop the charges. And he says nobody will convict her. She's a sweet, nice girl. And the lady basically is telling him, see you in court. So his name's Todd, her name's Catherine. Catherine's like, have you thought about getting her a different attorney? And he wants to cuss her out, but his daughter's on his shoulder, so he doesn't. But she says, I know your wheelhouse. I respect it. It's not this. So he says, flake you, Catherine, is a nice way of saying the other word in front of his daughter. So she says, I'm not trying to be mean, Todd. I say it like that because of Christmas Vacation. Todd. What made the carpet all wet? Todd. Okay, this is deep water, Todd. I'm trying to throw you a lifeline. And she offers a plea. And so then we cut to Vivian. She gets called in to see Anna. She comes out all mousy in glasses. Vivian, thank you for coming. And they said, they exchange pleasantries. They kind of talk for a minute. Anna starts harping on this thing. She says, I was told it'd take a long time. She says, well, this is a regular visit. Basically, Vivian had to say this is a regular visit, not official press visit, because it takes so much longer. But Anna keeps going back to, you need to go through press because then it becomes a VIP visit. We get the VIP room. You get a special car to drive you here. It's a whole thing throughout the entire episode. That's I don't know. It's just, this is my load of pants for this episode, right? Is that they drag out details. I know it's setting up a story, but sometimes I was just like, fucking go with the story already. I would get so distracted by the, hello, it's Anna, you fat ass. Because she kept saying that. That's why I say that. But it's distracting. And so these episodes did not need to be this long. I took about 1 billion pictures, and they just didn't need to be this long. Okay. She literally says in this scene, are you pregnant or are you so very, very fat? Can you imagine? I mean, seriously. Like, this was my face through this. Are you kidding me with this? Okay, so Vivian sneaks papers into her office. Her colleagues know exactly what she's doing. She's supposed to be working on this Me Too story. She's like, fuck that. I'm covering Anna. So these people are super cool. She's basically sitting at the weird table right at the wedding. You know what I mean? Like, this is my analogy. It didn't actually happen in the show. And they're all a little odd, but they're all super nice to her and very helpful. They agree to help her with the story. They know that it's probably going to be something good. She's saying, I need sources, I need names. They're calling people. She's trying to get the prosecutor to help. Catherine's saying, no, I'm not giving an interview. She says, I'm just looking for some color on the case. Nope. Calling people from the files. They're trying to find one set of loose lips. Meanwhile, we go over to Todd, the defender guy. So that's what I have in my note. Todd, the defender guy. Sounds like a superhero. It's the opening night of some show. His wife is all ready to go, but we find out they're both attorneys. She is some, high-powered attorney that works for a giant firm run by her family. He is a one-man band. He has one assistant that helps him, and he's not saying he doesn't want to take the deal, but he doesn't want to take the deal. He's dragging his feet on presenting the deal to Anna. He's talking it through with his wife and saying he's scared because it's just two of them in the office, and there's going to be, I forget how many, they said 20,000 pieces of discovery that they'll have to go through. It's something crazy. It involves all these financial documents, and he just basically is saying he feels out of his league with all this. Okay, back in the office, things get really interesting. Paul, this guy here to her right, is a dickhead. He is supposed to be assigning stories. When he did this, I want to rip his finger off. You do not point the finger at me, Paul. But seriously, this guy was super annoying. So what happened was she got back to the office, and he's like, where have you been? And she's trying to say, I'm working on your story. That's what you wanted, right? No, that's not where she's been. We know where she's been. She's been talking to Anna. Well, she gets busted. I really want to punch Paul's glasses into his face. But she got busted because an office worker is telling her, hey, you got a call from the district attorney about not wanting a comment on the Anna Delvey story. So clearly she's busted. She's supposed to be working on this other story. Whoopsie. Well, it ends up in a big old serious meeting in her boss's office. She's supposed to do what Paul says. The big boss over him says, hey, can you give us a minute? So she starts to leave, and he says, no, Paul, can you give us a minute? they have a heart-to-heart, and we see her really plead her case. Apparently this dickhead Paul, yes, dickbag, I'll call him, dickbag Paul, he missed all the signs on Harvey. He was supposed to be covering, she just calls him Harvey. I'm guessing, I wonder who he's talking about. A big old Harvey that was being disgusting with people. Yeah, that guy. He missed all the stories on that. Everybody else found them, but he missed them. So she's just mad that she has to work here and under these circumstances, and I really want to know her backstory. They keep alluding to something that happened, but they haven't said what it is yet. Okay, so she gives up that she did go to Rikers. She interviewed Anna, and there's really something there. The boss is trying to tell her Paul assigns features. She bargains with him and says, give me a month. They work out that she gets 2 weeks. And she gets an exclusive with Anna, or the story doesn't, or she has to go back and apologize to Paul, and that's it. So back at home, Durs, again, is saying that, listen, when the baby comes, you can take time off, you can get another job. She, again, alludes to something having happened, saying people will Google me, they'll recognize me, I can't get another job, I am getting this interview. So Vivian is back at the office talking to the writers, and they're talking about all the hotels that Anna has stayed at. Now, this I found completely fascinating. I remember this from the original story. She would stay at these crazy-ass hotels. Nobody had any idea how she'd pay for them, or she didn't pay for them. But there was one hotel that she actually paid a bunch to. And this, I remember too, she kept tipping in $100 bills. She always had a ton of cash she would flash to keep up the appearances. Where was she getting this money? So she got to talking to this employee. The employee kept saying, nope, I could get in trouble for this. This room goes for $1,700 a night. You take your selfies. You get out. I'm not answering your questions. Anna used to take selfies here, and that triggers a light bulb off in her head. We're like, oh shit, I should look through her Instagram and see what pictures have been taken here. So they start to talk about what friends visited her and who would have been there. And you guys, we get Kate Burton. Now, the reason this is funny is because I just recapped Big Trouble in Little China. She was in that. And also, apparently she likes to work with Shonda Rhimes because she was in Grey's Anatomy. She played Meredith Grey's mother. So here she's vouching for Anna Delvey. She's saying she's part of the Delvey family. They're huge in Germany. They trade in antiques. There's a trust fund. That's all I know. So this is where things get really interesting. We get a montage of talking to different people about their impressions of Anna. And we have Laverne Cox and others talking about, and it's really strange because each one of them is giving a totally different story. One is talking about how fancy she dressed, Parisian chic, and another one was talking about her off-the-rack clothing. And this comes to play later. We see pictures of Anna taken over the span of a few years, and she is like 14 different people. It's very odd how much she could change herself and adapt to whatever situation she's in. People were telling stories of her impressionist paintings, you know, her very expensive art. And then others, like this guy, would tell like a poop story about her. It was disgusting. So kind of all over the place. Definitely shows how she could mold herself and trick her way into pretty much any situation. I mean, she's a scammer, right? So Vivian goes home, goes into the nursery where they have this blank wall. She starts making a Charlie from Always Sunny type, like a conspiracy board. She's like putting pictures up. She's trying to figure out what year everything happened and trying to make it all make sense. And she literally says, who is Anna? So then we go back to Rikers, and again, Anna is fixated on this regular visit thing. On a museum visit, they put you in the private room. My accent's getting worse. And all Vivian wants to do is get her interview. All Anna wants to do is get her VIP status here. And things get real weird because Vivian's trying to ask questions and trying to find out about her story, but she's saying, I need other sources to corroborate your story. And you know interesting, accomplished people. And there's confusion over certain things. And again, Anna's not listening. She interrupts and says, did you take the bus? You don't have to on a media visit. So again, obsessed with this VIP thing. Vivian says they all describe Anna differently and like a totally different person, varying descriptions. Any ideas why? And she cuts her off again to ask about this damn VIP. And she says if you get a VIP, you can bring a recorder. We get the private room. It's so silly. And Vivian says sometimes VIP isn't better. Anna, can you answer some damn questions? And she says, why does everybody have different descriptions of you? And again, Anna's not listening. I have a question. I've heard stuff about you. So again, kind of alludes to stuff in the past. Vivian cuts her off and says, you looked me up, you read some stuff, and now you want to ask me a question. She says something about a kid in a story. So I really want to know the backstory of what she's talking about there. Anna's not interested in any of that. She says, I looked up some stuff about you from the internet. I see some pics. Why do you dress like that? Why do you look poor? It's awful. She's an awful person. You need to get better clothes. She starts naming off all these designers and telling her that she's too fat for heels. You look broke ass. Ugh, so much awful stuff. She ends up walking away from the interview. So we go over to Tony from Succession here, and he's telling his wife about the plea deal, and his wife totally gets it, but understands that he also does not want to take the plea deal, so she's talking through the scenarios with him. Back at the office, they are talking about Anna, and she's saying to her coworkers, what do I do? I'm not going to give up on this. Do I go back and convince her to say yes to give me the interview? Remember, she's on this huge time crunch. Otherwise, she's going to have to do what Paul says. So they have to dance around it, but they basically end up telling her, listen, if she takes this plea deal, you don't have a story. So you need to talk her out of doing the plea deal without talking her out of doing the plea deal. So she goes over to Anna's attorney's office, and she talks about the deal. We find out he doesn't want her to take it either. But again, they can't straight up say that because, legal rules. So they're trying to figure out how to get her to take this deal without trying to get her to take the deal. So again, lots dragging out here. It's a little confusing, but that's kind of where I got that. Okay, at the sonogram, she finds out she's having a girl. She gets very mad. She's clearly obsessed with this Anna thing. She starts dropping the F-bomb over and over. But again, they hint to something went on in her past. So she says that she's upset because this isn't who she wants to be. She thought, I thought before this tiny person got here, I'd have my career figured out, that kind of thing. She's talking about she wanted to fix her reputation. Dying for this story to come out. I know it will. Stop teasing me with it. Just hit me with it. What are you talking about? So back at the house, she's trying to take down pictures. It kind of alludes to, well, maybe she'll give up. But she gets invested. Again, this is where we see her making the Charlie a la Always Sunny style conspiracy theory board. God, I love that episode so much. Oh, so good. Okay. She figures out that the girl from the hotel that she originally talked to that said, we're not friends. They are friends. She's in all the pictures on Instagram. She started to recognize her and realize, oh God, they actually did hang out. This girl's lying to me. So we see her go back to the hotel. She shows up. She starts asking her questions like, hey, how did you and Anna become friends? And, she's basically saying, talk to me. And the girl's like, no, I'm not going to talk to you. And the girl is like whip smart. And she figures out, oh, you need her not to take the plea deal so you can get a better story. She says, listen, I am in New York. I deal with people. I know that everybody's after something. What are you after? And so finally, Vivian just says, I need this interview. I want the career I was supposed to have. I need to know, what does Anna want? And her friend smiles at her. So ding, 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 we're starting to figure out, okay, so everybody obviously is out for something here. Vivian needs this to fix whatever the hell happened in her career that I'm dying to find out about. And she's got to figure out what Anna wants. So from here, we see her going to that bus, again, going to Rikers Island. So Anna had told her last time, I don't want this interview. So hard to say how she got back in there. I'm guessing this friend here maybe put a word in, like, you need to talk to her. But as soon as the bus pulls away, this car rolls up. So what does that tell you? Yep, she got the VIP room. So she's playing the game. She's doing what Anna asked. She's doing this VIP room for whatever reason. It's a big fucking deal to Anna. So they talk about it and what happens if she takes this deal. She's thinking of taking the deal. If she does, she could go, I think that she'll serve like 4 years and then possibly be deported. But if she doesn't take it and she goes to trial, if she loses, she could be in prison for 15 years. So she's trying to weigh it out. And Vivian says, everybody's calling you a scam artist. Don't you want a chance to clear your name? And she straight up tells her, I want the story. And I can give you what you want. But then they flash to court. So we don't know what she's going to say. But then they flash back and she says, I can give you fame. Ding, ding, ding. That's what Anna wants. She wants the fame. That's what she's wanted since day one, and Vivian figured it out. So when she slings that at her, Vivian stands up in court and says, Anna says, I do not want the deal. The deal is off. Okay, then we go back over to Grey's Anatomy Mom. They have not said her name yet, so I'm just calling her Grey's Anatomy Mom. She's drinking a martini. She's saying, that bitch didn't take a plea. There's going to be a trial. And she's talking to whoever this guy is, and they're both saying, did you talk to her? No. Well, she did talk to the reporter. She's lying. But sounds to me like they did something. They're trying to save face. They thought if she took the plea deal, it would stay out of the papers. But no, it's going to trial. So they're going to be in the papers, and rich people don't love that if it's not good. So I'm so into this. It's not great, but it's interesting, and I'm into the accents, so there's that. And yeah, I'll keep going with it. I mean, it's a lot of detail, but we'll keep going if you guys want to keep going. Just leave me comments below. Write me something in German. I'm good. Like, whatever you want. Let me know your thoughts on this one. I'm curious to see where they're going with this. There's parts that I really like. There's parts not so much. It's a little sensational, but the story's sensational, so there's that. I don't know how else they could have done it, but some of these parts did drag out a little bit, and I'm scared because this is just the first episode. I'm scared it's going to continue to drag, but we'll see. We'll see if we can make it fun. If nothing else, I've got the accent, yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know I just crossed into like Swedish or something, but thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you like this recap. Dying to know your thoughts. Are you watching this? Are you just watching my insane recaps? Let me know in the comments below. Do check out Patreon if that's something you're interested in. We're having a lot of fun over there. Hope you guys have a fantastic night, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.